Chris Hoke in studio here. You can text us on the Edgar Snyder and Associates fan text line, 412-928-9370. Edgar Snyder and Associates reminds you to text responsibly. You can also follow along at Twitter at 93.7 The Fan, driven by Jim Shorkey Kia, Pittsburgh's #1 Kia dealer. Locations in Wexford, North Huntington, and Uniontown. Visit ShorkeyKia.com. Also, you can get a look at Chris Hoke. Chris, wave to the little camera. There he is.
He's a handsome man.
Isn't he? Not as handsome as Ron. You can get a look at Ron, too.
Yeah. Right there, close up. Look at me, right up front.
There he is. We usually feed horses apple right around noon, too. People can watch that. You can watch live video. Go to 937thefan.com shows, and then the cleverly titled live video. Look at this story, gentlemen. Baker Mayfield playing with a partially torn labrum. He had a horrible game. Trying to make a tackle against the Texans, he suffered this injury. Had a horrible game against the Vikings, but apparently won't come out of the lineup here, so he's still going to play. But how must that be affecting a guy with Case Keenum in reserve?
Is it his throwing?
That's what I was going to say. Throwing arm?
I think, yeah.
It's his throwing arm.
No. It's his non-throwing shoulder.
That's not
but he's been
bad.
wearing a shoulder harness.
Not as bad. I mean, not good, but not as bad if it's your throwing arm, obviously.
He struggled last week and up in Minnesota. But, we'll see how that affects him going forward. But at some point, Stefanek's got to say, hey, is he able to be effective on the field? Because last week he wasn't. And if he continues to play like he did last Sunday, they've got to do something.
He's doing too many of those commercials.
Those are great.
Joe, our man Horseback here, told us about the one yesterday for Halloween where he puts the chips in a bag and then squirts on the cheese.
He's got a good agent, man, out there putting them out there, marketing them well.
All right, let's get to Matt Canada. This is good stuff here. He was asked today about the fourth down calls, the botched fourth down calls. Said, to be honest, and of course, I'm assuming that the context was Ben confused, man versus zone, with this play call? If Ben has to stick to the play call, does it work against man or zone? That's what I'm assuming the context is here. He says, to be honest, all our plays have answers for zone or man. The play didn't work. It's my fault. Every play we have has a zone beater and a man beater, but that play didn't work, so it's my fault. So where do we start here? Let's go with the Juju play that Charlie Batch has called into question. This was fourth and, what was it, Ron? Fourth and
I don't have my
5, I think. 4th and 5. And he threw it behind the sticks, and it was like a 2-yard gain.
Juju dives.
And then Juju
tried to reach
out.
Yeah, reached out. Yeah. That was great. I think one thing that's not being pointed out is what great discipline on that defender, on that linebacker, to sit there in that zone. A lot of times a linebacker will carry that the receiver on the opposite. I can't remember who the receiver was coming from the opposite side of Juju and carry him too long, and Juju can get across. But that was great discipline by that linebacker, and then his ability to come up and make the tackle, because we've seen Juju break a lot of tackles and get first downs. I mean, multiple times over the first 4 weeks of the season. So you got to give a lot of credit to that guy. But again, I've always had, even as long as I've played football, I've always struck me odd that when it's 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 10, whatever it is, you throw short of the chains. You said every single week in the NFL, almost every team does that, and they're not as successful as you would think, as often as you see it happen.
It makes no sense.
That doesn't make sense to me.
It makes no sense, but Ben is getting rid of the ball so quickly. We were talking about the one against Cincinnati, the one to Najee, 10 yards, 6 yards below, 4th and 10. And I guess Canada said, well, there were guys in the end zone. But he threw it so quick the guys couldn't get into the end zone.
And you look at the one this week, the 4th and 4, that again just came up. And honestly, the ball caught the ball, turned around and just dumped it off to Najee. Freiermuth was open on the backside. It was the strong side, but it was the backside. I mean, Freiermuth took a step inside, kind of shot inside a little bit, and then went down the seam. And if Ben would have taken another second, and there was nobody in his face at the time, they only rushed 3 on that pass, and it looked like they were going to blitz. And so that's why some people are saying, hey, Ben misread this, because they're up there sugaring, that we call it as defenders in the Steelers. Sugar means you're fake and blitz, and then you back out. So it looked like they were going to bring more hats than the Steelers had to block. And then they all backed out, and they dropped 8 and rushed dropped 8 and rushed 3. And that's when Ben dumped it. And he could have gone to Freiermuth on his left side and gone for first down and more.
So what are we talking about here with man versus zone? Because it seems, again, like the implication is that Ben has no freedom to audible out of plays in these weighty situations like fourth down, and that people are surmising that the plays come down and they're not right to go against zone defense. But Canada's saying, hey, all these plays are designed with a zone beater and a man beater. Does that make sense to you?
Listen, I think everybody's just trying to take the blame. I think nobody wants to point fingers right now, right? That's the worst thing you can do on a team. So I think everybody's trying to be stand-up people and take the blame.
And that might be deflecting the blame.
Starkey, when things go wrong, like for example, let's look at the Packers. They had that fourth down pass that Aaron Rodgers threw,
right?
And it was supposed to go to Devontae Adams, and Randall Cobb reached up and hit the ball down, right? But they every other third down and fourth down they were killing it, right? I mean every single situational moment they had success. It seemed like so one time, but when you're going out there now, it's become a pattern. Right, and when you come out there and you're sputtering offensively and you're running the same play against pretty much the same defense, there are questions here because they're not winning, and that's the concern right now. And to me, I would like to know really what the truth is, because to come out there and run that just a little dump real quick off to Najee on fourth down, that's like in basketball, it's like shooting from half court, right? It's a low percentage shot. Right, it's not like taking a layup, and so I can't believe in my mind that if Ben came to the line of scrimmage, that they have told him if you see something different, you can't audible. I just can't see that happening.
I can't either.
I can't see that.
I absolutely agree. But Tomlin says, well, yeah, he's got great freedom, except in those weighty moments where we've put in a lot of time and stuff. What does that mean?
If that's true,
what does that mean?
If it's true that means that when Ben comes to the line of scrimmage on 4th and 4, that he has to go with the call even if he sees something different, then I think that's wrong.
See, I have a hard time believing it, and
I don't believe it.
These guys are perfect. He's been in the league 19 years. He's fooled by blitzes and fake looks, and he misses it. I don't. Does that happen?
Too much of that is happening for me to think that. I mean, because Ben hasn't been tricked like that over the years. Ben made the right call over the years. So you're telling me all of a sudden right now in the 19th year,
he's like losing his.
He lost his mind. Like that's hard for me to imagine. But I can't imagine them putting handcuffs on him and saying, "You come to the line of scrimmage, you're going to run this call, come hell or high water. I don't care if you see a blitz on it you check it down. I don't care if you see a 3-man rush and everybody's back, you still check it down."
But didn't the coordinator just say that built into every? First of all, Tomlin and Canada are both on the record with these fourth down plays as saying there were other receivers eligible. There were guys in the end zone. Now he's saying every play call has a zone or a man beater. So I think that they're saying that basically Ben made the wrong decisions, regardless of the play call or whether he could change it or not. He made, and you mentioned Freiermuth, he made the wrong decisions on play calls that could have worked.
And when you look at the play, you could say, well, he should have gone to Freiermuth, so he made the wrong decision there. He thought the blitz was coming,
so a good play if somebody broke open like that.
What's that?
A good play call if somebody broke open like that.
Oh, a good play call is only if you're able to throw it and catch it and make it, and be successful, right? I mean, going to the back in that situation when they're dropping 8 and they're rushing 3 is not a good decision. I mean, I think we all I think he would agree. Everybody would agree with that, right? And so it's easy to criticize when you're sitting here, in a nice air-conditioned room with a microphone, or when you're in the studio KDKA. But the reality is, in that moment, there was a lot of heat. He's been getting pressured a lot of the game, and so he's thinking, okay, pressure's coming. I'm going to dump it real quick. And looking back on it, hindsight's 20/20. He should have gone to Freiermuth.
Hindsight's always 20/20, right?
Or 50-50, as Walt Harris once said.
I thought Shaq said that.
Did he say that?
Yeah. He's a character. Now, these are tough things to talk about, guys. I mean, listen, nobody likes to sit here and criticize Ben. Nobody likes to sit here and criticize the Steelers, and it's
they stink right now.
They're not playing good. They're not playing good football.
They stink right now. All of
I have too much respect because I played this game for a long time, and I know what time and sacrifice and effort these guys put into the game. So I'll never tell somebody they stink or they're terrible, they're awful. they're not playing good football right now. And it could be because of injuries. It could be because of maybe there's a lack of trust, whether it's a trust between the head coach and the offensive coordinator and the start and your Hall of Fame quarterback, or if it's a lack of trust between your Hall of Fame quarterback and your offensive line. There's no trust. There's a trust breakdown, right? Well, I'm not going to say these guys are awful because they're not awful. Because these guys, man, put too much heart and too much time and too much sweat and tears to say they're stink.
Though,
They're not playing good football.
And I wasn't impressed with the defense the other day at all.
Well, listen, I think that there were times when they should have stepped up in those situations.
5 drives in a row they scored.
And then you look it down.
Now,
they converted 60% of third downs.
Right.
And that's the reason why they were at almost 10 minutes. A little less than 10 minutes in time of possession.
To play when you're behind and when you're ahead.
Oh, it is. So. And it's a lot harder to play offense, too, when you're behind because they know what you're going to do and they know where your quarterback's going to sit, and they're just going to pin their ears back and go after you.
Well, they got a beast coming in here in terms of a pass rusher, one of the all-time greats, and he still looks like he can get it done. That's Von Miller. Let's talk about the Broncos, the challenge at hand, and get Hoke's prediction. Next, the Fan Hotline presented by Nemacolin. Around every corner, Nemacolin creates real-life magic for guests.